I'm feeling really good, probably around 8, 9, sometimes 10. So it just depends on the day, how traveling and things like that can really affect your breathing. But I don't do that many shows. I'll do 2 a week. That's enough for now. So I'm pretty happy.
No.
Yeah, well, the songs are exactly what I recorded on my cassette and then brought it to the band. And that's what I found, a cassette of my early renditions of Starship Trooper, Owner of a Lonely Heart, with the lyric, because they asked me to write the lyric, so I learned the song. And You and I, Your Move, just the early versions, and that's what I do on stage.
So
I was working on some projects in south of France and writing about Chagall, the Marc Chagall, the composer. And I was working with a French poet on some sort of surreal music. And I was pretty happy down there. And I came up for the weekend and Chris rang me up and said, would I listen to the album they were working on? And I listened to it in his car, and it sounded really good. But it just missed on some of the choruses, and some of the lyrics weren't very solid yet. And so he said, would I like to get involved? And I said, well, if I do, it'll be yes, because they were going to call it something else. I think they were going to call it, I don't know, I forgot what it was.
Cinema.
Cinema, that was it, yeah. You know more than me. and I just said, give me a couple of days, I'll go in the studio with Trevor and see how we work. So me, Trevor, and Trevor got together, and I started singing, and they just loved it. So I said, I'll stay for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. I did all the vocals, and then went back to south of France, and that was it. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't have a big involvement in the arrangement of anything. I just sang on top of some damn good music,
Right.
Well, I wrote all the lyrics for the verses and the bridge, and he wrote the chorus. He really helped me with the verses, but I generally finished them off, as to how I would sing them. But I think we did the first verse together, and then he went for a drink or something, and I finished the second verse, the bridge, and that was it, because the chorus was already a hit. It was touted to be a hit anyway, and the production was amazing. So I just went in and sang a lot of different versions of each song on the album over a period of 3 weeks, and when we picked out all the good stuff, It was a brilliant production. I was in Barbados windsurfing, and somebody waved at me, and I got back in and said, the song's gone to #1. I said, oh, great. How's Trevor? Because he was in hospital at the time, yeah. He'd had an accident in a swimming pool. This lady fell on him, and he sort of got really hurt. And then within a month, we were on tour. You become a sort of pop star for about 10 minutes, and that's fun. And I'd seen Spinal Tap at the first week of the tour, so that zoned me in on what we were doing.
So Nick?
Yeah, we were in touch last week. He's in Seattle. He's doing a beautiful movie, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, based on the original Mickey Mouse idea, but it's a live version of it, and he's doing the orchestration for it. Mm-hmm. So he's very excited. And we've talked about doing some work in the future. Me and Rick are working together. Trevor wants to do it. Bill Bruford would love to, but he's not sure about touring. So, I did ABWH about 20 years ago, and it was a very good album, big successful tour. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, why not do it again if everybody wants to do it with Trevor? Because me and Trevor bonded over the last 3 years. He was, when I was sick, he was calling me up every other week, and how you doing, John? Very concerned,
Wow.
You find out who your friends are. Yeah, well, they want to tour a lot, I don't, and so that's a problem. Mm-hmm. And next year, maybe, when we get in the Hall of Fame, we'll all get together and do a good show, and that'll be probably it. I like the idea of working with young guys. I worked with the Paul Green School of Rock, and I'm working with the Old Stars this summer on an album together. Because I like working with young people who are very, very eager to work on new music. And working with a symphony is important because I'm doing a new piece of music called Children Yet to Come. It's a half-hour, 4-movement project. And hopefully be working with another youth orchestra later this year with San Antonio. And I think working with younger people, and I've been working with a lot of people on the internet over the last 5 years, and I've been writing so much music, it's kind of frightening. Because there's a lot of people who want to make music, you know, there's a lot of creative people out there, and I'm sort of a vessel for that. I love that. Well, I've got my website. I do Facebook every week or every other week when I can find time. You know, I've got a few thousand people who like to keep in touch on what's happening with my world. And like, I'm just starting up my new web site, I think next month when John gets it together. My webmaster's been very, I'll finish it next week. Yeah, okay, for a year or so now. But he'll get it finished. And it'll come out and it'll be a whole new website and a lot of ideas that I've been thinking of over the last couple of years that I want to get out there, because there's a lot of young people out there who love Yes and are discovering Yes at the age of 12, 14, 16 years old, you know, and email me out through my, you know, from Facebook saying, you know, I just got into Yes, I love it. What else have you done, you know? And then they find out what else is around and they just get really into it. So, you know, we were always in touch on different levels. Mahavishnu Orchestra really kind of freaked me out. King Crimson freaked me out. And, you know, you watch, you know, Zeppelin take the world by storm, you know, and I knew Robert when he was in another band in the 60s called Listen. So we would bump into each other and remember the old days, you know. And, you know, you just watch what's going on. But, you know, Yes was a very important part of my life for many years. And that's all I thought about, Yes music. Because it's a specialized thing, you know, it's a very, until you know what it is, you don't know what it is. You know, you think, oh yes, they're this pompous, noisy, loud, and they play long music, which is a load of rubbish, because they've read all those critics, you know. They don't know what it really truly is, and it's really good stuff, you know. So then, after 6 months, I didn't want to listen to it ever again. Rick left the band, it kind of broke my heart, and I just wondered if I'd made a big mistake. But then 20 years later, we're doing it with an orchestra, I'm saying, this is damn good music, and my wife loves it. She loves revealing more than anything Yes has ever done. And I say, God bless Janie for saying that, because I didn't want her to come to a rehearsal when we were rehearsing it. I was so scared she would say, what the hell is that? You know, she adores that piece of music. And Ritual and Awaken, she loves the big stuff. I saw Journey without the Perry, and they were good. And you got to listen to the songs. You don't really go to see if the guy's still alive. Well, it's never the same, because you know I saw this Michael Jackson impersonator a couple of weeks ago, and the band was great. The kids were screaming, and the guy wasn't Michael Jackson. Right. It kind of moved like him. It was a little bit small and fat for Michael Jackson. But it sounded okay. No, but, you know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So Benoit, you know, I love the guy. Good luck to him, you know. So yeah, as we were getting close. I love Michael.
So were you following him during
yeah. And you saw it, yeah, you saw his movie? Forget about it. He was so on the ball. Kind of freaked me out that he was so good. Because nobody could touch what he was doing on that. This is it. You see it?
Yes.
Nobody could touch that. Nobody in the world. You can have your Usher. Yeah. Nobody could get near what he was doing. God bless him. He's gone through hell, that guy. You know, he's a happy guy now. Leave him alone. God bless him. Every time you hear his music, you say, yes, Michael. I gotta go. I'll be here all day, I think.
So, yeah.